We as a society may think we know where someone comes from based on what kind of house they live in, what kind of car they drive, or what they're wearing, but in reality we don't know where they came from and we don't know their past. So just like everybody else on Earth, I'm no different. As for my past, not many people know this about me, but I was born at 27 weeks gestation, weighing only 2 pounds and 14 ounces, so you can imagine that's fairly small. Um, but this definitely terrified my parents as to whether I would live or not. But my doctors, worked hard to keep me alive, and I was closely monitored just like all their babies. Um, Premature babies, their organs aren't fully developed yet, and I was born with holes in my heart, which is known as a congenital heart defect, and along with some breathing complications as well. And I was kept in the NICU at Stormont Vale Hospital in Topeka for a little over a month and a half in an incubator to keep my little fragile body warm, and had lots of tubes and wires attached to me to monitor me to make sure I didn't quit breathing and my heart didn't stop too. But luckily, weeks after that month and a half, I got to go home with my dad and my mom, but I had to go home with a heart monitor so I could start to live at home and, start to make a life for myself. This is a little information card they gave to my mom with all my information on it whenever I was born. So, as for my present time, I am a huge animal lover, especially dogs. My very first pet was when I was in kindergarten. We had two little rat terrier mixed dogs, and we were lucky enough to snatch them up from a family friend of ours whose dogs had just had babies. We named them Duke and Max, and they were my world. They were my best friends since I didn't have any other brothers or sisters around at the time. We ended up having them for roughly 10 years, and then they were starting to get old and they were in a lot of pain, so we had to end up putting them to sleep, and that was a very emotional day for me. But eventually I moved on, and then in December of 2012 I managed to snatch up a little Chiweenie, which is part Chihuahua, part Wiener dog. This is him. His name is Biggie. He is the most lovable dog you will ever meet. He loves to snuggle. He has a personality of his own. He thinks he's part human most of the time. And I look forward to coming home to him after a long day at work. But as for my future, I knew ever since I was a little girl I always wanted to be a doctor. And especially after knowing and hearing about my birth and coming into this world, it really struck me as to what I really wanted to do with my life. So, just like anybody else, life can throw you curveballs at you, and you just have to go with it and work through it. But after I graduated from Highland with my associates in science for pre-nursing, I plan to get my licensed practical nursing certification and start my journey as a nurse. And then eventually after that, I plan to go to Washburn, if I'm still around the area at that time, to get my RN degree and further my education a little bit further and whatnot. And then I eventually want to get my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing along with my Master's of Science in Nursing so I can get into a more specialized field. I want to get into neonatology because I was born early. I've always had an interest in it. But that's my ultimate goal in life, is to become a neonatal nurse practitioner so I can help, save lives of little babies who have similar stories like I do. So this is a blood pressure cuff, which would represent nursing. So not many people come from the same background or got raised in the same fashion as we may have, but people struggle through hardships or they have it easy just like anybody else. And there's nobody else in the world like you. You're unique. That is something to embrace your entire life and make it count, because this is the only life that you have to live, so you might as well live it to the fullest.